You wake up at 5 a.m. not because you want to, but because the DoorDash app is pinging. You're already tired from your 9 to 5, but you tell yourself this side hustle is going to change everything. 3 months later, you're exhausted. You've made $2,400, and somehow you feel broker than you did before you started. You're not lazy. You're not doing it wrong. You're trapped in what I call the side hustle trap, and it's designed to keep you grinding without ever getting ahead. If you've ever started a side hustle thinking it would finally give you financial breathing room, only to feel more stressed and still broke, hit that like button and subscribe right now. This one's going to make a lot of uncomfortable things click into place.
Here's what they sold you. Start a side hustle, monetize your time, build multiple income streams. You could be making an extra $2,000 a month. You think you're being smart, entrepreneurial, taking control. You sign up for Uber or Instacart or Fiverr, or you start an Etsy shop or drop shipping store or freelance writing or selling courses about selling courses. You walk away from that first week feeling like you're finally doing something. You're a hustler. You're building. But you didn't build an income stream. You bought a second job that pays worse than your first one. You walked in thinking, I'm going to create wealth. And you walked out with another boss, another schedule, another set of demands. Except this time, there's no benefits, no security, and you're paying both sides of the tax. That side hustle isn't a wealth-building tool. It is a time extraction mechanism designed to monetize every spare hour you have, and it is keeping you broke while making someone else rich. My name is Sam, and I've spent the last 5 years studying why people work more hours than ever but feel financially worse off than their parents did. If you are someone who started a side hustle and wondered why you're exhausted but not any richer, or if you've been told the solution to your money problems is just to work harder, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Because today, we aren't talking about productivity hacks or morning routines or how to optimize your Uber acceptance rate. We're talking about the hidden math of side hustles and how the gig economy has convinced millions of Americans to work second jobs that pay less than minimum wage after expenses, without them ever realizing it. Here's the thing about side hustles. We're terrible at calculating our actual hourly rate. If I asked you how much you make per hour on DoorDash, you'd probably say about $20 to $25 an hour. But that's not your real hourly rate. That's your gross revenue before expenses, taxes, and unpaid time. We're revenue-focused, not profit-focused. We see the money coming in and our brains light up. We ignore the money going out. The gig platforms know this. They know that if they showed you your actual net hourly rate after expenses, you'd quit immediately. But if they show you gross earnings, big weekly totals, surging pricing opportunities, you feel like you're making real money. They're not paying you for your time. They're renting your time, your car, your gas, your insurance, your health, and convincing you it's an opportunity.
Let's look at food delivery. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, they're the grand masters of the side hustle trap. Here's what they show you. Sarah made $927 last week delivering with DoorDash. Sounds great, right? That's $3,700 a month. That's life-changing money. Here's what they don't show you. Sarah worked 32 hours that week. That's $29 per hour gross. Not bad. But let's do the real math. Expenses. Gas, $120. Sarah drove 340 miles at 35 cents per mile. Car maintenance, $80. Oil changes, tire wear, depreciation. Insurance increase, $30. Commercial use adds cost. Phone data plan, $15. Needs unlimited for the app. Total weekly expenses, $245. Actual earnings after expenses, $927 minus $245 equals $682. But wait, Sarah also spent 4 hours waiting for orders in parking lots, unpaid, 3 hours driving back home between deliveries, unpaid, 1 hour dealing with app issues and wrong addresses, unpaid. Total time invested, 32 hours active plus 8 hours unpaid equals 40 hours. Real hourly rate before taxes, $682 divided by 40 hours equals $17.05 per hour. And we haven't even subtracted taxes yet. Sarah is self-employed now. She owes federal income tax, 12% bracket, self-employment tax, 15.3%, both sides of Social Security and Medicare. State tax varies. After all taxes, roughly $540 take-home. Net hourly rate after all taxes, $540 divided by 40 hours equals $13.50 per hour. Sarah is making less than minimum wage in many states once you take into account her actual time and costs. But DoorDash's email said she made $927. That's the number that sticks. That's the number she tells her friends. The gap between the gross revenue and the net reality, that's where the trap lives. Let me show you another one. Uber. Uber tells you, drive when you want. Be your own boss. Earn up to $30 per hour during surge pricing. Sounds incredible. Here's what actually happens. James drives Uber on weekends, Friday and Saturday nights, 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., 16 hours a week. Good week, $640 gross, $40 per hour. He's killing it. Real costs, gas, 280 miles driven, $98. Car depreciation, IRS allows 67 cents per mile because that's the real cost. 280 miles equals $187.60 in real vehicle costs. Insurance, maintenance, cleaning, $45 per week. Parking, tolls, $20. Total costs, $350.60. Net before taxes, $640 minus $350.60 equals $289.40. Time breakdown. 16 hours driving passengers, paid. 4 hours driving to surge zones, unpaid. 2 hours waiting for rides, unpaid. 1 hour car cleaning, unpaid. Total time, 32 hours. Real hourly rate before taxes, $289.40 divided by 23 hours equals $12.58 per hour. And after self-employment tax and income tax, roughly $9.50 per hour take-home. James is working weekend nights, the time he used to spend with his family, for less than he'd make at Target, and Target offers health insurance. But Uber's algorithm is brilliant. It shows him the $640 weekly total. It shows him the $52 surge ride. It shows him that he's in the top 10% of drivers. It never shows him he's making $9.50 an hour while destroying his car. Let's look at the creative side hustles. Fiverr, Upwork, freelance writing. Be your own boss. Set your own rates. Work from anywhere. Meet Rachel. She's a graphic designer. She does logos on Fiverr. She charges $150 per logo. Sounds reasonable. Time breakdown for one logo. Initial client communication, 30 minutes. Research and concept development, 2 hours. First draft creation, 3 hours. Client revisions, average of 3 rounds, 4 hours. File preparation and delivery, 30 minutes. Total time per logo, 10 hours. Hourly rate, $150 divided by 10 hours equals $15 per hour. But wait, Fiverr takes 20% commission, $30. PayPal processing fee, $5. Net revenue, $115. Actual hourly rate, $115 divided by 10 hours equals $11.50 per hour. And that's before self-employment tax, 15.3%, income tax, software subscriptions, Adobe Creative Cloud, $55 per month, computer depreciation, internet costs, unpaid time marketing herself, responding to leads, dealing with client disputes, After everything, Rachel makes about $8 an hour designing logos. She has a design degree. She could get a junior designer job at an agency for $45,000 to $55,000 a year with benefits. But Fiverr shows her you've earned $1,200 this month, and she feels successful. She's not calculating the 120 hours she worked to earn it. Let's look at the most insidious one, the teach people to make money side hustle. You see ads, I made $10,000 last month selling online courses. You can too. So you buy their course on how to create courses, $497. You spend 80 hours creating your course. You spend $200 on course hosting platform, $150 on email marketing software, $300 on ads. You make 3 sales at $97 each. Total revenue, $291. Your investment, course purchase, $497, tools and ads, $650, your time, 80 hours. Net result, lost $856 plus 80 hours of your life. But the person who sold you the course, they made $497. Their course isn't about teaching a valuable skill. It's about recruiting more course sellers. It's multi-level marketing with a laptop. The only people making money are at the top of the pyramid, teaching others to sell courses about selling courses. Academic validation. This phenomenon has been studied by labor economists. A 2020 study by the Economic Policy Institute found that the median gig worker earns $11.77 per hour after expenses, well below the average W-2 wage. A UC Berkeley study of Uber drivers found that 30% of drivers earn less than minimum wage after expenses, and 8% actually lose money driving. The gig platforms know these numbers. They just never show them to you.
Now you might be thinking, okay, Joe, so I'm making $12 an hour instead of $25. It's still extra money. Who cares? And if it stopped at just lower wages, you might have a point. But the side hustle trap isn't just about hourly rates. It's about what you're trading for those dollars. You're trading, 1, your time with family. Every hour you're driving for Uber is an hour you're not at your kid's soccer game. You can't get that back. 2, your health. The gig economy has no sick days, no health insurance. You work sick or you don't eat. A 2019 study found gig workers have 20% higher rates of anxiety and depression than traditional employees. 3, your career progression. Every hour you spend on a side hustle is an hour you're not investing in skills that could get you promoted at your main job. You're running in place instead of climbing. 4, your retirement. Gig platforms don't contribute to your 401k. They don't match anything. You're paying both sides of Social Security tax and getting nothing from your employer. Let's do the lifetime math. Side hustle path. Work 20 hours a week side hustle for 10 years at $12 an hour after expenses equals $124,800 total earned. But you lost 1. Employer 401k match you could have earned with those hours invested in main career, around $30,000. 2. Career advancement opportunities, 1 promotion over 10 years, around $80,000 in cumulative raises. 3. Health costs from stress and no insurance, variable but significant. Net result? You worked 10,400 hours for $124,800, but you gave up $110,000 in other opportunities. You made $14,800 over 10 years, or $1.42 per hour when accounting for opportunity cost. And that's if everything goes well. If your car breaks down, if you get injured, if the platform deactivates you for a bad rating, you could end up negative. The side hustle trap isn't just extracting your labor, it's stealing your future. So why do we fall for this? It comes down to mental accounting and the labor illusion. When we see $927 hit our DoorDash account, our brain categorizes that as found money. It feels like a bonus, like free money, even though we worked for it.
We don't subtract the expenses because those feel like costs of doing business, separate from earnings. We hate thinking about sunk costs, the gas we already bought, the car depreciation already happening. Our brain wants to ignore those. The platforms exploit this. They make deposits visible and frequent. They celebrate your milestones. They gamify the work. But they hide the costs. You find out about car depreciation when you try to sell your car and it's worth $6,000 less than you thought. You find out about the tax bill in April when you owe $3,000 you don't have. The second trap is the labor illusion. We overvalue our own effort. If we worked for something, we believe it must be worth it. I spent 40 hours this week on my side hustle. Feels productive. It feels like building. It feels like progress. Your brain doesn't want to admit that 40 hours of work earned you $9.50 an hour. That would mean you wasted your time. That would mean you made a bad decision. So instead, you focus on the gross number. You focus on the flexibility. You focus on being your own boss. The trap isn't just financial, it's psychological. You become invested in the narrative that you're a hustler, an entrepreneur, someone who's building. Admitting the math doesn't work feels like admitting failure, so you don't do the math. The platforms know this. They're not just renting your time, they're renting your identity. Let's talk about how this impacts the collapse of the American middle class. The side hustle trap is a major driver for why families feel like they're working harder than ever, but getting nowhere. In 1970, the average family worked 2,800 hours per year to maintain a middle-class lifestyle. In 2024, the average family works 3,500 hours per year and still struggles. That extra 700 hours, a lot of it is side hustles. Here's the trap. Wages haven't kept pace with costs. Housing, healthcare, education, all rising faster than income. The response from corporations and politicians? Start a side hustle. But side hustles don't solve the wage problem. They mask it. Instead of demanding higher wages, better benefits, stronger worker protections, we've been sold the idea that the solution is to work more hours for less money. The gig economy isn't supplementing the traditional economy, it's replacing it. Companies are cutting full-time positions with benefits and replacing them with contract workers with no protections. Your side hustle isn't making you an entrepreneur, it's making you a contractor that a corporation doesn't have to provide benefits for. You're not building wealth, you're subsidizing corporate profits with your unpaid labor, your vehicle, your health, and your time.
All right, enough of the problem. Let's talk about how to escape the trap. Strategy number 1. Calculate your true hourly rate. Get a notebook. Track every hour you spend on your side hustle for 1 month, including unpaid time. Track every expense, gas, mileage, subscriptions, fees, everything. Do the math. Real hourly rate equals total revenue minus total expenses, estimated taxes, divided by total hours worked. If that number is below $20 an hour, you need to seriously reconsider. If it's below $15 an hour, you should quit and do literally anything else. Your time is worth more than that, and there are better uses for it. Strategy number 2. Invest in skills, not gigs. Instead of spending 20 hours a week driving for Uber, spend those 20 hours learning a skill that increases your main income. Online courses, certifications, networking, building a portfolio in your field. These have compounding returns. A promotion at your main job might mean $10,000 more per year every year, with benefits. That same time spent on gig work gets you $12,000 once, with no benefits and no future. Which would you rather have in 5 years? Strategy number 3. Build real assets, not active income. If you're gonna work extra hours, build something that can eventually earn without your active time. Don't build DoorDash routes, Fiverr gigs, Uber shifts. Do build rental property, dividend portfolio, automated online business, intellectual property. The goal isn't multiple income streams, it's passive income streams. If you have to actively work for every dollar, it's not an income stream, it's a job. Strategy number 4. Negotiate your worth at your main job. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. The 20 hours you spend on your side hustles every week, if you invested half that energy into being exceptional at your main job and negotiating aggressively, you'd make more money with less effort. Most people avoid asking for raises because it's uncomfortable. But negotiating a $5,000 raise takes maybe 10 hours of preparation and conversation. That's $5,000 every year, with benefits, with less effort than 400 hours of gig work. The hourly rate on negotiation is insane. We just don't do it because it feels harder than driving for Uber. The side hustle trap is everywhere. It's in every Be Your Own Boss ad, every passive income guru, every gig platform promising flexibility. It's a tax on your inability to calculate opportunity cost. The corporations are betting that you'll trade your time, your car, your health, and your future for the illusion of entrepreneurship. Prove them wrong. Be the person who does the math before signing up. Be the person who invests in building real skills instead of burning hours for $11 an hour. Be the person who says no to the gig trap and yes to actually building wealth. Here's what nobody tells you about side hustles. The dream they sold you, financial freedom, being your own boss, passive income, that's real. But you don't get there by renting your time to a platform. You get there by building assets, investing in yourself, and refusing to trade your life for someone else's quarterly profits. If this video made you realize your side hustle might be a trap, share it with someone who's grinding themselves into the ground for $12 an hour. We need to stop letting the gig economy convince us that the solution to low wages is working harder for even less. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your real hourly rate on your side hustle, do the math first, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.